Matter is to the Minister for Agriculture, following the Labor government's decision to close Victoria's sustainable native timber industry and their failure to provide fair compensation to the many businesses and families impacted by this change. Machinery values are capped at $1 million, which falls well short for many businesses, and the labour of seed collectors is not taken into consideration with the packages. I've met with business owners who have worked in the timber industry for generations, and this industry shutdown has been devastating for thousands of workers across the state, including timber workers, seed collectors and haulage contractors. In Alexandria recently, I've heard about the exodus of local families from the region, which also impacts schools and local businesses. At a time when we should be using more timber in environmentally sustainable buildings, the Victorian government has sent our state backwards. While the government announced an expansion of the compensation to include seed contractors, a local seed collector, Brendan Clark, has shared his frustration, and I'll quote his article about the Labor government's decision to close the native timber industry. He states, "The knee-jerk closure, instead of the 8 years transition the government had us all planning for, has disrupted small businesses across Victoria. The stress and uncertainty faced by the frontline industry workers and their families are overwhelming, leaving them in limbo, with some of them, myself included, not having been paid for months and with no sign of compensation as yet. The future looks uncertain, casting a shadow of doubt over the entire community. The lack of support and inadequate resources provided for a smooth transition only exacerbates the feeling of neglect experienced by rural communities, impacting their financial well-being. These timber workers have played a vital role in building homes and livelihoods, contributing billions of dollars to the Victorian economy for generations. Yet their history of contribution is seemingly disregarded in the government's approach to business and individual redundancies. It's a painful reminder of broken promises and lies from those in power." He writes, "On a personal note, I'm reaching out to you because I find myself in a dire financial situation, nearing bankruptcy. Unfortunately, I've not received any support from the Labor government since the closure of the industry. I'm desperate to speak with someone who can understand and address the damages that have been inflicted upon businesses like mine. The situation has become so critical that I'm on the verge of losing my home. I've made numerous attempts to contact the Premier's office by phone and email, but I've yet to receive a reply. Instead, I was advised to apply for Centrelink, but Centrelink payments don't cover the thousands of dollars in bills my business still has, which I can no longer afford to pay. I've encountered nothing but obstacles in accessing the compensation that our industry rightfully deserves. I call upon the Minister to overturn this decision to shut down the native timber industry and at the very least increase the funds allocated to offer fair compensation, and would like to extend an invitation to the Minister to visit Northern Victoria and meet with Mr Clark and other local businesses directly impacted by the closure of the native timber industry."